Just imagine, you're taking a quiet shower, trying to relax after another day of tension, when suddenly the cell phone vibrates in the sink. A bank notification that freezes your blood, withdrawal of $50,000. Balance, $12,340. Half of the couple's economies disappeared in the blink of an eye. And the worst? The only person who could have done this was right there in the kitchen, with a smile of satisfaction on his face. This is the real story that I will share with you today, listening friends. I am Andre Branco, and in the Blood Ties program we will dive into a case that proves how excessive control and manipulation can poison to the nearest relationships. Get ready for a narrative that will make you rethink the limits between family, respect, and possession. It all started 3 years ago, when Sophia met the love of her life, Dmitry, a talented programmer with a promising future. The problem? He still lived with his parents. It's just for a while, he assured, while Sophia, full of hope, agreed to move to the Lariontsev family home. Antonina Grigorievna, the mother-in-law, received her daughter-in-law with a forced smile and an unnatural manual of rules. Here things are done my way. From the first day, Sophia has learned that her pinchouls needed the traditional touch, that her blouses should be passed in a specific way, and that her presence there was a kind of privilege, not a right. The months became years. Dmitry earned well, but there was always an excuse to postpone the change. Sometimes it was the renovation of her parents' house, sometimes her mother's fragile health, sometimes the loneliness of the elderly. Sophia, in the meantime, struggled as a manager in a modest company, keeping each reel for the dream of a home of her own. But Antonina wouldn't leave cheap. For her, that house was her kingdom, and Sophia, an intruder that needed to be domesticated. The mother-in-law turned her daughter-in-law's routine into a minefield. He criticized every prepared meal, moved the things of the room, and then accused Sophia in a mess. Worse, he spied on his conversations, poked his messages, and wrinkled his nose for any unnecessary spending: a new lipstick, a dinner with his friends, a blouse on sale. Your husband works hard, and you throw money away, he repeated, poisoning his son's head with stories that Sophia was ruining the family. Dmitry heard, nodded, but she never had the courage to confront her mother. Until the situation exploded. 6 months ago, Sophia received a promotion. His salary jumped to $6,000, a personal victory, but a blow to Antonina's ego. After all, how could a strange win more than your child? It was then that Dmitry suggested the idea of the joint account, to better organize finances, he said. Sophia, confident, stumbled. Big mistake. The first discrepancies started subtle, $100 here, $150 there, always with vague excuses: help to parents, unexpected expenses. Sophia swallows dry, believing her husband. Until the values began to bother: $500 in medicines for father-in-law, $700 in the repair of a car that was already in the technical reserve. The fuse. A $1,500 withdrawal supposedly for supermarket purchases. Who spends this on 4 people? Meanwhile, Antonina flourished. The refrigerator now sported imported cheeses, the sink shone with designer cosmetics, and she left Resolve things coming back with pussy bags that Sophia didn't even dare to get in. Asked, the mother-in-law was evasive. Her husband denies nothing to her mother, unlike some people here. The drop of water came the night before. Sophia, exhausted from swallowing frogs, exploded. She displayed the bank statement, demanded explanations. Dmitry, instead of support, attacked. You're petty. This is my family. My duty is to take care of them. Antonina, of course, wasted no time. She appeared as an eagle defending her puppy, speaking about family values and respect for the elders. Sophia was sleep with heart and self-esteem on the floor. The next morning the silence was sharp. Dmitry went out for work without a goodbye. Antonina ignored Sophia for breakfast, as if she were uncomfortable furniture. It was then that Sophia decided to take a hot shower, trying to wash the bitterness of the day. And it was there, under the shower, that the fate threw the truth in the face, the fateful notification on his cell phone. Our $50,000, half of the couple's economies, missing. And the only person with access to that card, besides Dmitry, was right there, flipping through a luxury magazine in the kitchen, with the expression of those who just won in the lottery. Sophia didn't think twice. He wiped herself, wore a robe and faced her mother-in-law, who didn't even bother to hide the card on the table, next to documents and a triumphant smile. "Where did you get our card from?" Sophia asked, trying to keep his voice steady, despite his shaking hands. Antonina raised her eyes, and in them danced a mixture of hatred and victory. "What a card, my daughter. Everything in this house belongs to my son. Including this money." And, as if spitting the words, he added, You're just an aggregate. You have no rights here." It was too much. 3 years of humiliation, asphyxiating control, poisonous comments, it all came to light. "Half of this money is mine," Sophia exploded, advancing to the table. "I sweated for him, and demand to know where it is." "Don't make me laugh," Antonina laughed, squeezing the card against her chest. "You eat our food, use our light, breathe our air. What rights do you think you have? And with a smile of derision, let's see what your husband will say about it." Sophia didn't hesitate. He took his cell phone and dialed the Dmitri number. "The mother-in-law sent. He always defends me. He knows very well who is important in his life." Dmitri answered in the third touch, the tired voice. "Soph, I'm in a meeting." "What is it?" "Put on the Vivi," Sophia ordered, without hesitation. "We need to clarify something in front of your mother." "Why are you talking about?" "Do what I ask for. Now." A noise, one click. Dmitri's voice echoed louder. "Okay. What happened?" Sophia took a deep breath. "They just got $50,000 from our account. The card is with your mother. She says she has all the right, because the money is just yours." Silence. Antonina smiled confidently, waiting for her son's verdict. Sophia wrapped her fists, prepared for another injustice. Until Dmitri spoke slowly, every syllable weighing like lead. "Mom, did you get our card?" "Of course I caught, my son," Antonina replied, sweet. "I did everything for family. I bought food, medicine for your father. A house doesn't keep yourself alone." "Mother," Dmitri repeated, her voice firm. "I'm asking, have you withdrawn $50,000 from our account without permission?" "Yes, but it's not theft. You're my son, your money is family money." And she pointed to Sophia with disdain. "She's out." What came next left the two speechless. "Mom, you stole. Sophia is my wife, and half of that money is hers by right. Return the card now and never touch him again." Antonina's face splashed as if she had seen a ghost. Antonina's hand flew to her face, as if the slap that has not yet echoed in the air. The eyes, once full of authoritarianism, now shone with tears of indignation. "Dima, what are you saying?" The voice trembled between despair and fury. "I'm your mother. I carried you 9 months, created you, put you standing, and you call me thief? Because of this woman?" He spat the word like poison. "Because of my wife," Dmitri cut, the cold voice like steel. "And yes, what you did has a name, theft. I gave this card only to Sophia. No one else had the right to use it." Sophia felt the floor shake under her feet. In 3 years of marriage, it was the first time that I saw the husband to position himself so. Awards against the mother. Not with palavras, not with lame excuses, but with a firmness that left her without air. "Mom, I'll block this card right now and ask for a new one," Dmitri continued, ruthless. "The $50,000 you will return from your retirement, are $10,000 per month, without discussion." "I don't have that money," Antonina exploded, her handy hands. "My retirement is merely, the prices are in the highest, as you can. Then you will learn to save," the son interrupted without a shred of mercy. "Sophia, get the card." The word imam, mother, in Russian, sounded like a knife being spiked in Antonina's chest. She had never heard that tone of her own son. It had never been treated as a stranger. As an intruder. Sophia reached out carefully, as if the plastic could burn her fingers. But Antonina, in a rage access, raised the card like a gun, ready to unravel a blow. "Don't dare," he shouted, his eyes injected with hatred. Sophia dodged for instinct, but something inside her snapped. With a quick movement, he tore off his mother-in-law's card and, without thinking, pushed it by the shoulder. Enough, his voice broke, but the words came out like lead. 3 years holding on your humiliations, your manipulations, but stealing my money. Not that. Dima. Antonina shouted to the phone, as if her son was still on the line. Are you listening to this? Your wife pushes me. Your wife raises her hand against her own mother. You raised your hand against my wife first, Dmitri answered exhausted. No more scenes, Sophia. Tomorrow we move. I can't take this clowning anymore. Antonina took her hands to her chest, as if the heart ended up at any time. You'll kill me in pain. 40 years of life dedicated to you, and now they throw me out because of this woman. The sobs drowned out the words. No one is throwing you out, Dmitri was categorical. We are leaving. And it is not because of Sophia. It's because of you. Sophia could barely believe. Would it be possible for the nightmare to end? That, after years of feeling a prisoner in his own house, would she finally breathe fresh air? Dima. And where are we going? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady, despite the hands that trembled. Today I look for options, he said, looking at her in the eye for the first time in a long time. We have enough money for the warehouse if she returns what she stole. I didn't stole anything. Antonina wore, the tears running down the blurred makeup. This money is from the family. I have more rights than her. You have no right about Sophia's money, Dmitri has cut dry. And the sooner I understand that, the better for everyone. He hung up. The silence that followed was deafening. Sophia remained motionless in the middle of the kitchen, squeezing the card hard, as if it were proof that it was all real. Antonina, in turn, collapsed in a chair, sobbing inconsistent phrases about ingratitude and broken hearts. Antonina Grigorievna, Sophia said, her voice surprisingly calm. Return the money you spent without permission. I don't return. The mother-in-law raised her head, the red eyes. I spent with the house, with the family. Sophia approached the table where Antonina had left the rolls she examined. Checks. Many checks. From stores she would never go to, a luxury jewelry store, a boutique of imported cosmetics, a silk bedding store. It will be. Sophia held one of the vouchers, showing him to her mother-in-law. Is golden earrings and cream of $8,000 really for the good of the family? Antonina blushed. The excuses died in his throat. I have the right to take care of myself, he murmured, lowering my eyes. My son is successful, I need to be up to. At the time with the money of others, Sophia added bitter. Where are the shopping? With reluctance, Antonina took them to the bedroom. On the bed, bags with expensive items, still with the labels. Sophia photographed everything, the checks, the shopping, every test of the lie. Tomorrow you go to all these stores and return what you can, he ordered, his voice firm. The rest, sells. All the money returns to our account. I won't do that. Antonina crossed her arms, stubborn. Then Dmitri will register a theft report. Sophia didn't give in. Choice. That night, when Dmitri came home, her face was a mask of determination. He apologized, not by empty words, but with a look that said, I failed you, but I won't fail anymore. And as they dinner silent, with Antonina muttering and pressing her chest like a dramatic actress, Sophia knew, this time, it was different. The next day they found a small but cozy apartment in a quiet neighborhood. A week later, they moved, despite the screams and threats of Antonina, who swore never forgiving her son for such betrayal. The first months were not easy. Dmitri suffered with the blame, trying to go back. Sophia, however, did not falter. Loving your parents does not mean accepting that they destroy our marriage. Little by little, he came in. And when Antonina, 6 months later, started calling crying, complaining of loneliness and health problems, Dmitri went to visit her but kept the distance. Sophia at first refused to accompany him. Until, over time, the waters calmed down. Until, a year later, came the news that changed everything. Sophia was pregnant. The idea of a grandson made Antonina rethink each acid word, every manipulation. Suddenly she started to apologize, to send gifts, to offer help, not with the arrogance of before, but with a forced humility, as one who learns too late the weight of the actions themselves. When the boy was born, strong and healthy, Antonina melted. It became a present but not invasive grandmother. He gave advice, but did not impose them. It seemed that finally she had understood, the limits of a family are not negotiable. 2 years later, with the arrival of his second daughter, things were so different that Sophia barely recognized the woman who once humiliated her. Antonina never returned all the money stolen, but Sophia chose to leave it behind. After all, some battles are not worth peace. Dmitri sometimes looked at his wife with an admiration that didn't need words. That day you called me, furiously, it was the watershed, he confessed one night while his daughter slept in the crib. I realized I had to choose, either protected the family I raised, or was still stuck with the one that raised me. Antonina, in turn, also learned the hardest way. What money from others does not touch. That children, when they grow up, have the right to fly. And that sometimes only one crisis is able to teach what years of affection have not achieved. Now, 3 years after that scandal, Sophia is still taking those minutes in the kitchen, foot in a drain of cheetah, with her phone in her hand and heart in her throat. At the time, it seemed that there was no way out. That she would be forever stuck in those 4 walls, suffocated by the poison of a mother-in-law that would never accept her. But life, as always, reserved a lesson, sometimes a firm voice, a demand for justice, and even the highest walls collapse. Even if, for this, you need to increase the volume of the call, and take the fight out of Isba.